Hello, hello, hello. Morning, morning, morning. How is everyone doing? Hope you guys are well. We continue to talk about niches because that's all we're talking about this week. I know that you're tired of we here to hear about niching. I know that you're stressed about it, but the reality is the growth of the business, the growth of your coaching business is predicated on how well you're able to define your niche. Because if your people don't know you're talking to them, it's good as nothing. If you have not yet watched the videos that I did previous to this, because they're all related to niches. So on Monday, I did a video. On Tuesday, Wednesday, and today we're doing the videos where I'll give you more examples. So we talked about how niching down, the biggest mistakes people do when it comes to niching down, how to actually formulate a niche. Like it comes from a 3-part formula. I shared that yesterday. And actually, the first video that I did was mainly talking about what is a niche anyway? And what isn't a niche, right? So those fundamentals. Because I talked about very specific things, I feel that today, I want to kind of bring more examples, because sometimes the fastest way to learn is to see real life examples. So today I'm going to show you examples of strong niches across life coaching, health coaching, leadership coaching, so they can see exactly what works and exactly why, right? So seeing these things in the wild, right? And it can use as inspiration or just use it as, copy paste verbatim. I don't care. I just want to be successful, right? Because most coaches, they get stuck, or they're stuck in this theory, right? They get it. Like, for example, yesterday I shared the 3-part formula: the who, the problem, and also the result. But then you're like, okay, I get the formula, but how do I know, how do I even apply this into my business? So that's where, with examples, you seeing the real, maybe seeing real life examples will click for you. And think about it like this: if you're thinking about building your house, right, it's good to see some ideas of like samples of houses around, right? So that's basically what it is. So let me go some strong niches and kind of break them down as well, why they're so strong. So first, in the life coaching niche. So if you are mostly into personal development and you work specific with target groups, this is mostly for you, right? A week one, and this one that I use all the time, and the different examples that I gave, is I help women live their best life. Don't say that, don't do that. It's broad. The women don't know that you're talking to them. They don't understand what best life is, because my best life is me at home with dogs, I don't know, talking about business perhaps, and eating ice cream, pistachio ice cream, because my favorite. Yeah, I know. So for some people, their best life is being out in, I don't know, Rodeo Drive and doing some shopping. I don't like shopping, right? So we need to define things, right? So a stronger way to say something like that would be, I help new moms, right? New moms. Remember the formula that I talked about yesterday. It needs to have a who, a problem, and a result. The who can either be a role that people have, a life stage where they're at right now, an identity, or a situation, right, that they have right now in their lives, right? So, for example, new moms would fit that category. So I help new moms stop people pleasing so they can feel free and confident again for their baby, for the sake of their baby, right? Since they're new moms, right? Or you can say, for example, I help ambitious women overcome imposter syndrome so they can finally step into leadership roles. Like now, I'm only saying ambitious women because I know there's people that are going to resonate with that. It's not like the favorites of the words to define a person, because it's really interesting, because we have to make sure that we label people as they label themselves, right? So the question you have to ask is, do the women that you're trying to help, do they label themselves ambitious, right? But the same thing here applies. Who? So for example, I help ambitious women, that's the who. Overcome imposter syndrome, that's the problem, so they can finally step into leadership roles, that's the result. Let me give you a third example. I help people going through divorce rebuild confidence and create a fresh start. Now I'm going to throw you into a loop, because you're like, Sally, 1 second. People are not who. Exactly. Because the problem and the result is specific enough. It doesn't mean that the who needs to, cannot be, it can be specific. I'm just kind of showing you because there's nuances that come with these, right? So I can say I help women going through divorce rebuild confidence so they can create a new start. But if I work with both women and men and it doesn't make a difference, I can say I help individuals going through divorce. That's the problem. Rebuild their confidence and create a new fresh start. That's the result. And that's valid, right? So I'm just kind of mixing things up here so you can see that not always it's good if you have if the 3 elements are niched or are specific, but it's okay if the who is the only element in the 3-part formula that is okay. It's okay if it's a little bit broad. given if the problem is specific enough, right? Okay, so that was life coaching. So let me give you someone on the health coach side. So please don't say things like, I help people get healthy. Who are these people? Healthy for what? Which type of health? All those things. A stronger niche would be, I help busy lawyers, that's the who, lose 20 pounds, that's the problem, without fat diets so they can perform at their best. That's the result, right? As you can see, the same thing there. And you can steal these verbatim or just put your own spin, right? For example, you can say, instead of busy lawyers, you can say busy moms. Or I help busy professionals lose 20 pounds without fat diets so can they perform their best, right? Or you can say, I help women in their 40s balance their hormones and lose stubborn belly fats naturally. You can say that as well. Or for example, you can say, I help stressed out executives double their energy with sustainable habits, right? So I help stressed out executives double their energy through sustainable habits, right? Straightforward. All of that instead of like health coach. It's not specific enough. Another one that I can give you. So another one category was the leadership, right? So is it leadership or executive coaching niches? So instead of saying I help people become better leaders, again, means nothing for nobody, right? What do you mean? What kind of leadership? Who are these people? What are the things? So a stronger one would be, I help women in tech leadership overcome self-doubt so they can lead with confidence. Women in tech leadership is the who. Overcome doubt, the problem, so they can lead with confidence is the result. The same thing, the same dance here, right? I help mid-level managers build influence so they can earn promotions and executive roles, right? Same. Who? Mid-level managers. What problem? Build influence. What's the result? So they can earn promotions and executive roles. That's it. The last one, I help CEOs reduce overwhelm and build high-performing teams without burning out. Instead of saying, I help people become better leaders, you specify the who. CEOs, reduce overwhelm, that's the problem, and build high-performing teams without burning out. That's the result, right? With every single one of these all focus on the same thing that I talked about yesterday, the who, the problem, and the result formula. They speak urgent and high-value problems. They are specific enough to stand out, but also broad to have attention. So as you can see, there's some of them that, especially with the life coaching one, I threw you a little bit of a curve because I want you to see like exactly how it doesn't have, yes, it has to be specific, but the who is where we are a little bit lenient on the who. The who, we can have a little people or individuals in there, given that it's the problem is specific enough, right? So that's what I want to give to you. And again, I encourage, there's some people that have been approaching me on the DMs. I'm completely okay with that. Send me a message with your position statement, with your value statement, so that I can give you some feedback on it. If you want, you can comment below as well. It doesn't matter if I'm not live when you do it. I can always come back to these videos and I will review and I'll answer your questions. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about how to refine your niche without boxing yourself in. Because between everything else people have been sending me, people telling me that, yeah, Sally, but I don't want to box myself into just in the specific niche. How do I do that without boxing myself? There's always an element of boxing, but there's different ways we can do that without you having to, box yourself in, right? So there's different clever ways we can do that as well. But we talk about that tomorrow, okay? I hope this video was informative, was helpful as well for you. As always, as I'm Portuguese, we end things with a big kiss, a big hug, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao.